Hi everyone! Thank you for joining me today to learn about some more financial planning topics. Today I'm really excited to talk about this particular topic because it's actually something I just recently became aware of. Now, I know a lot of families in this area have children with learning disabilities and they're receiving what's called an individualized education plan. These are also known as IEPs or 504 plans. What I didn't realize is that these plans just disappear once you graduate high school. So if your child's planning to attend college, they have to figure out how to receive new resources and the process that's associated with that. Now there's a few things to keep in mind here that I want to talk about today. To start, I spoke with Mary Lee Palmer of By Design College Consulting to help me figure this all out. She offers college prep services, but her specialty is helping students with learning disabilities succeed as they apply to and attend college. Mary Lee explained to me that the IDEA Act is legally bound to provide a public school education alongside accommodations that allow students to succeed and learn. However, once a student reaches college, they fall under the Americans with Disabilities Act, or Section 504, which simply requires access to education. So that means that each college has to have a disability or accessibility office. However, they don't necessarily have to do much more beyond provide access to education. What Mary Lee explained to me is that there's 3 tiers of these offices. There's basic, moderate, and comprehensive. So as you review colleges for your child to attend, you're going to want to keep that in mind. Basic is simply just going to comply with the law. Moderate's going to provide a handful of services, but they're basically going to try to get your kid to stand on their own 2 feet as fast as possible. A comprehensive office is going to have staff that's trained to understand and work better with kids with disabilities. And they're going to do a lot more to help doing academic monitoring and coordinate accessibility services among various offices on campus. So it's going to be a little bit more familiar to the student from what they received in high school. Having a learning disability will not dissuade the school from accepting your student. In fact, it's not even something they can ask about. It would be on you to disclose that information. The only time you may want to do that is if you're trying to explain away a dip in grades. So potentially at some point during their 4 years in high school, they slipped up and you were able to diagnose that they had a learning disability issue and rectify that situation. So potentially you would want to explain away that poor grade on their transcript, but otherwise they're not going to know. In fact, they're just going to receive the hard copy transcript, a recommendation from the guidance counselor, and they may possibly also ask for a recommendation from a teacher. Now, I want to stress to you that there's really no time to waste in understanding how to move forward with getting accommodations in college for your child's learning disability. Number one, once they're in college, it's only a handful of months before the semester's over. So I think as parents, we're used to having kind of plenty of time to get through the school year. And even if that school year gets fudged up a little bit, especially if you're in the public school education system, it's not necessarily costing you anything other than time. Whereas in college, it's not free to go to college. So if your child kind of fudges through the first few months, that semester could be ruined for them. And potentially because you're paying for that college education, you're having to repay again. Now, I really want to stress the fact that this is very different from high school. Kind of the community and the faculty and staff are all coming to you in terms of being proactive with getting your student through their education curriculum. At college, the ball is really in the student's court, not even in the family's court, but in the student's court. So you really have to get that student to be able to self-advocate, go to the accessibility office, and go with the correct type of paperwork. Now, Mary Lee says that the wording on this paperwork is critical in order to receive the correct type of accommodations. You have to understand that privacy is a big concern on campus. So when the professor is given a note saying that your child needs this accommodation, there's no context around it. So they may scoff a little bit or not understand exactly how to comply with the accommodation because they don't understand the full scope of the situation. So again, that's where your student really has to be able to speak up for themselves and explain the accommodation and their diagnosis, and kind of connect the two. Again, you're not on campus with your students, so this is no longer something you can do. And the administration isn't necessarily going to come together to advocate on behalf of your child. They don't have to, and again, it's a privacy concern, so they really kind of leave it up to the student to self-advocate. Mary Lee actually brought up a really neat point to me when I asked, when does this process start? Now, typically the college acceptance process starts around 11th grade. However, she would recommend potentially even starting as young as 8th or 9th grade. Why? If the student has something in mind in terms of what they want their college or degree to be, it's possible that a student with learning disabilities is put into an easier course in high school rather than given an accommodation. You want to make sure that your student, while they're in high school, is completing the correct type of curriculum at the correct level as well, to give them the best chance to get into the college they want and even get maybe some type of merit and academic scholarship. I hope today's video was helpful. It certainly probably opened the door to a lot more questions, which is perfectly fine. Feel free to reach out to me or Mary Lee Palmer at By Design College Consulting. She's located in Lexington, Massachusetts. I will have my website and hers in the show notes underneath. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to subscribe and check out my blog for the written narration of this and a lot more detailed information in terms of how to move forward, and the laws and the rights of students are also linked in the article associated with this post. Have a great day.